Hi guys, sorry I couldn't be there today. What I'm going to be talking about in this video are the expectations for the news project. We've been working on this project for a while and we haven't really talked about guidelines of how this news project is going to be evaluated. So how are we going to determine what is a effective news project? So what I've done is I've created a rubric for you, and so in this video, I'm basically just going to go over the final expectations for the project and also what each of the items of the rubric mean. So let's get started. First of all, you can see I go to the Google Classroom, and the first document in the news project is where you're going to find the new expectations and also the rubric. So let's go ahead and open that up. All right, so I've opened up the document and you can see that in the document I've highlighted three items. These are things that have changed in the expectations for the project. So let me talk about each item. So first, I've highlighted that in number one, at least 2 articles per person. So that basically means that each person, even though you're writing about one topic, for example, you might be writing about technology or politics or video games, each person in your group will be responsible for writing their own 2 articles. So for example, if you're in the politics group, one person might write an article about the inauguration, another person might write an article about the Women's March, but each person will be in charge of 2 articles. So if you're in a group of 5, that means that you have 10 articles in your group. If you're in a group of 2, you'll be responsible for 4 articles. Now, I will say that if for whatever reason you're in a group with one person, just yourself, I'll ask that you do 4 articles. That's just because I want to make sure that your news project has enough articles to be considered a newspaper or a news website. All right. The next item is that you're going to have 1 advertisement per person. So again, if you're in a group of 5 people, you'll need to have 5 advertisements. Now, I want to clarify that these advertisements need to be kind of related to your audience of your media. For example, if you're in the politics group, you're not going to be trying to sell makeup, or you're not going to be trying to sell something of that nature. You might want to consider selling something like books, or something that you might expect people who are looking for politics to buy. Or for example, if you're doing something about drones, you might want to do tech related advertisements, like for computers or for hardware of some kind. The next change is that on the day that this is due, your article must be fully published. This means that if you're doing a website, your website's got to be up, or all the articles need to be up on the website. We definitely want to make sure that we're not just doing this as a project, whatever, who cares. We want to make sure that we're making something that can go out there and that your peers in 5th and 4th grade can read what you have created if they go on your website. So we definitely want to make sure that on the day that this is due, your article is fully published, it's edited, and it's ready to go. So those are the 3 changes. So make sure that in your group today, when you get together, that you talk about who's doing what articles, who's doing what advertisement, and how you're going to publish it. So whether you're doing a website, whether you're printing it out, make sure that you talk about all 3 of these things with your group. So going on the next page, this is the rubric. I've divided the rubric up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different sections. So the first section is on your topic, and then how cohesive, that means how much it is related to one another, each article is. So in order to get the highest grade, the master, you're going to make sure that all your articles stick to one topic or theme. So that means if you're doing politics, all of them have to be somehow related to politics. If you're doing drones, all your articles have to be related to drones. And make sure that you're kind of not going off and doing your own thing. You want to make sure that whatever article you want to write about, you have to let your group know, because they're going to help you determine whether that's related to the idea or not. So make sure you get with your group and let them know which article you're going to be writing. Next, we're going to go down to format. Now, there's different items in format, so make sure before you publish that you get with your group and you make sure and check off that you have each one of these items, because you're responsible for them. You want to make sure that your article has some headers in it. Doesn't mean every paragraph needs headers, but you need some headers to say what topics you're talking about. Each idea needs to be separated by a different paragraph. Also, you're going to want to make sure your format, you're following the same format. So that means that each person making their article, they have got to use the same format that your whole group is using. You can't just decide that one person is going to be doing a CNN style format, and then another person's going to be doing a New York Times format. You can't say that one person is going to be using a Comic Sans font and another person is using a Times New Roman. All of your articles have got to be the same format. That is very important. So you need to get with your group and talk about what that format's going to be. Okay, we've talked about introductions and conclusions. Your articles will all need to have introductions and conclusions. You need a reference section. Now, if you want to have for each one of your articles a different reference section, that's okay. If you want to have a website reference section, that means that you have all one big reference section where, Ryan puts his references, JJ puts her references, everybody contributes their references, that's okay. And finally, you're going to need an index or some way that it's easy to navigate through your article. Okay, so let's get on to information. That's pretty self-explanatory. Make sure that your facts are cited. So there's a video on how to use the citation machine here. So make sure you watch that before you publish. Also, make sure your sources are reliable. I will take off points if you are giving me sources that are not reliable. So remember our lesson that we did on author, format, sources, and fact check. If you click on this link, there's a bunch of different fact checks that you can use. So make sure you click on these links that are in here. They can help you out. Going down to the next section, this is about impact and audience. This basically means how effective is your article. So you can kind of read through that and see sort of what we're talking about here. Going down next is team effort. That just means you guys are working well together. You're making decisions together. You're not making decisions by yourself. So definitely talk with your group. And last is that your news project is fully edited. There's no mistakes. Sometimes we go on CNN.com and we see little tiny mistakes, and that means that that's an unreliable thing. When I see a mistake on a news website, it tells me that it's not reliable. So definitely make sure, if you want people to believe what you're saying, that you're going back, you're reading through it, you're making sure there's no little errors or little mistakes. You want to clean it up. Also, your news project needs to be attractive, and it needs to be ready to read. So if you're doing a website, it all needs to be published. Okay, so I would say with your group today, get together, talk about how you're going to accomplish all of these things, and then get to work on what you need. All right? So hopefully I'll be back tomorrow and we can get together with each of your group and kind of see how you're doing. All right?